Just stop, Evan. Stop, stop, stop. Here we are again. Back at it. It's the next day. This first coat is good and dry. Nice and hard. I haven't taken any sandpaper to it yet. You can see some of the like fiberglass texture in here. So I got to be really careful not to go too deep. I really don't want to sand into that. So I'm just going to knock off the high spots. There you can see a good lift off ridge down here. So I'm just going to flatten all that out so it's smooth and hit it with my second coat. My second coat, I'll go a little bit wider and try and really start to feather this thing so that you really can't see this subtle hump that's going to be there. I'm going to turn on weather light here too and get to work. This is going to be a dusty mess, so I've got a fan. I've got my Milwaukee fan in the window. I'm going to try and get as much negative pressure in here as possible so all this fine dust flows out and not into the bedroom. And then while that's drying, we'll see how much gumption I got today. But I still have a little bit of electrical. I bought switches that'll go in there. And really I'm waiting on a delivery for the rest of the fittings for this system because I really want to pressure test it before I get too much more in here, right? Like if anything's leaking behind here and I go put the shower niche in and all this other framing, now I have to undo all of that to get to those fittings. So I'm like dying to pressure test this system. One problem at a time, Evan. One problem at a time. Tackle this and go from there. All right, let's do it. All right, well, I just got set up. I was just about to get going. I realized up here, it's still not fully set. It's you can't feel it, obviously, and you can't even really see it. I didn't even notice it at first. But there's a bit of a wet spot in here. That's what I get. I shut this door last night. I had the plastic all walled off. I didn't put a fan on it or anything. Clearly that was a mistake. I thought, 12 hours, really like 14 hours, 16 hours would have been enough, but it was not. I guess that coat was too thick with no air movement in here. It's just taking a long time to dry. So I'm still going to try and sand this a little bit. Hopefully I can get away with it since I'm just doing a real light sanding anyway. We'll see, and then throw another coat on top. For these next coats, I'm going to put the fan on it just to keep the air moving and try and get it to dry out a little bit better. Clearly, I should have done that from the jump. All right, I mixed up some more mud here. Way too stiff. I hope it's not going off already. This is hot mud, so I read the bag again, and it's 20-minute working time, 35 to 40 minutes to set. So that's why I guess I was right. It takes about an hour. But this is way too stiff. I got to go add some more water, and then I got to get moving, get this on the wall. Drywall is such a friggin' mess. All right, I'm gonna clean up again. All right, while I'm waiting for that mud to dry, I'm gonna install the strike plate. So I've marked out exactly where this strike plate needs to be, where it needs to land. I'm gonna use this Forstner bit to kind of hog out most of the material, and then I'm going to use my chisels to tighten it up a little bit. At least that's the plan. They make little kits and stuff and router jigs, but I think this will be easiest for what I'm doing right now. Yay! Great success. It closes nicely, nice and tight. Didn't come out as clean as I hoped. I boogered up kind of the top edge and the bottom, but I think once we get some paint on there, you'll never really know. I did recess it in there. Probably should have used my router. Maybe next time I do one of these, I'll 3D print a router jig or something, because that was kind of a pain. It'll work. It's good enough for who it's for. On to the next thing. All right, next up, sorry for the fan noise. Obviously, I'm trying to let that dry. While I have the plastic still up, I'm gonna cut the fan or the switch box in this wall. So that's this box. It's gonna flip around to the outside. I'm gonna put it at the same height as this switch. All the switches in here are gonna be the same height, which is roughly 40" to the top of the box, 48 to the top of the box. So I'm just gonna use my level to come over here and then probably drill straight through to give me a reference on the outside face, and then probably cut it from the outside with my oscillating tool. So this can be on the other side, and then I'll replace this switch with a paddle, which all the switches in here are going to be paddle switches. Great success. Got the box in. I need to go get a plate for it. I'm not going to tell Katie until she edits this. She won't see it, but this is one of those things where I bet we're going to disagree. I bet she's going to want a regular switch. I'm going to want a paddle. So we'll see. Editing Katie, was I right? Was I wrong? But it's working. It's in. Controls the lights. Box is in. I'm going to go ahead and staple these wires and secure them now that I know exactly where the box goes. That's it for that. That feels good to get done. All right, I think it's time to hit this thing with some texture. I found this can that we had out in our garage from before we moved in. So the previous owners used this. I just tried it outside. Still works. Technically it's for ceilings, but the texture looks identical. So I think this is what I'm going to try first, because that other bottle was like 20 bucks. So if I can use this and save a couple bucks, I'm there for it. I really don't know how well this is going to work, and it's kind of terrifying to me because, well, if it doesn't work, what, do I have to sand it all back off and start over? I really don't want to do that. I got to get this done and get this plastic down, because I really don't want this here when Katie gets home. So let's just go for it, yeah? How bad can it be? Seems easy enough. All right, let's see how this works. I'm nervous. Wow. So I'm just gonna hit it like, and I mean, shoot. Yeah. That'll do. All right, that's it. Stop, Evan, stop. I got a couple, when I started, I squeezed right in and then like a big blob comes out. I think I'm just gonna leave it and I'll just like kind of sand it or pluck it off when I'm done. Otherwise, I'm gonna call that good enough. Maybe we're a little light in spots, but just stop, Evan, stop, stop, stop. Okay, sweet. All right, now I just gotta take down this plastic, get these poles out of here, and then clean. I definitely gotta mop this floor, probably vacuum.